Hi, and welcome to Being Pokemon Red with Only Duplicates. Before we start, I want to thank you for clicking on this video. I've spent months recording and editing this video to start off my YouTubing career. And if you're one of my friends, I'll send you the money later, don't worry about that. If you somehow don't know what a Pokemon nuzlocke is, then I'll go through the rules real quick. I can only catch one Pokemon per area. If a Pokemon faints, then it dies and can't be used. I have to nickname every Pokemon I catch. No items in battle, and I can't level my Pokemon higher than the next gym leader's ace. The extra challenge I added to this nuzlocke is that I can only catch a Pokemon from an area if it is the same species of Pokemon that I have already caught. Let me put this another way. In the first areas, you can catch these mons. For example, if I caught a Rattata in Route 1, then my encounters would be lowered down to just this. That is a lot of rat. Oh, and one more thing. I fought every trainer in the game just for the extra challenge, because I could lose a Pokemon at any point in time. Alright, let's get into it. My Pokemon journey started a little weirdly, with Professor Oak showing me his muscled up, oily body before letting me put my real life name of Grassy in. I'm then introduced to this guy. I'm not sure who he is, but his name's H-Bean. Sounds like a weird rapper's name, to be honest. As soon as I wake up, I dive headfirst out of my bedroom window to avoid talking to my mom, and running away to start my Pokemon journey. Before I even took one step in the grass, Professor Oak rushes up to me and starts asking if I want to join his alpha male course. Just like the alpha male he is, he takes me by the hand and leads me into his lab, where I ignore the child he is tied up on the floor, running over to his collection of Pokemon. I choose Bulbasaur as my starter because I think Bulbasaur is the best starter in Gen 1. He actually is just the best starter in Gen 1, as well as just being my favourite starter in general. Now I need to think of a name for this little guy. Well, when I look into his eyes, I see happiness, kindness. I see that he wants a hug. So I name him Hugs. Taking Hugs, I head to the next town. There's skipping the rival battle because that worked fine. I never lose those, no, never heard of it. When I reach the next town, I head to the local pharmacy to get my medication, but instead the cashier recognises me from Professor Oak's Facebook page and sends me to deliver a special brand of protein powder, which I do quickly using my special teleportation powers. I hand the protein powder over to the professor quickly, wanting to get away from him as fast as possible. Before I even get a chance to speak, that random kid rushes back into the lab, snatching the Nokia phones right off of Professor Oak's workbench and booking it. As the professor looks on in complete shock and horror, I make my escape, following after that random kid because I'd rather follow a thief than hang around an alpha male. I head back to the pharmacy to buy the Pokeballs needed to catch my encounters. My plan for the start of my adventure is to catch a Pokemon in the forest. First, because there are more unique Pokemon there, meaning I should have a higher chance to get a larger variety of Pokemon. I said I wanted to catch a Pokemon. It genuinely took me a solid 30 seconds to find something. The thing I did find is a Metapod, which I named Tired, because just look at them. He eepy. After catching Tired, I went to catch a Pokemon on Route 22, which ended up being a Rattata. I named him Angry, because that was the exact motion I was experiencing when I realised that I had to catch 2 more Rattatas. I did catch them, but I'm sure as hell I'm not happy about it. One could say that I'm angry about it. Expect a lot of bad jokes if you continue to watch my content. After stewing in anger for approximately 6 minutes, I go to fight my rival. This fight wasn't that hard with me, just using my many Angries to beat H-Bean into the dirt. After I had defeated my rival easily, I moved on to fighting the first gym, where the gym leader Brock shows off his muscles, yelling about how good Professor Oak's alpha male course is. I completely ignore him, just sending out Hugs and clicking Vine Whip twice to one-shot both of his Pokemon. This fight is always easy if you choose Bulbasaur. It just is. Anyways, after easily defeating Brock, I head to the right of Pewter City, quickly defeating all the trainers in my way. The first thing I do is head to Mount Moon to catch him on, which ends up being Geodude. When I look at him, I think of one very specific thing. He looks cool. So I name him Coolest. I'm going to say something that most people won't like right now. So get ready. I don't like Gyarados. Magikarp, Gyarados, I don't like them. Hate it so much. So instead of getting a Magikarp at the Pokemon Center, I went to catch a Pidgey in the grass below. When I look into her eyes, staring through the windows to the soul, I see diamonds in the sky. So I named her Diamond. While I was clearing out the trainers inside of Mount Moon, I ended up getting my first evolution, which was Hugs evolving to Ivysaur. He still looks adorable, but now slightly grumpy. Adorable. Since Hugs evolved, beating the rest of the trainers was easy, clearing everything out. When getting to Cerulean City, my first priority was get my encounter in Route 4, which had to be another Angry, adding to my army of rats. I wonder how many rodents I'm going to have by the end of this journey. Anyways, it's time to complete an actual difficult fight with my rival at Nugget Bridge. The reason this fight is difficult is because of this Pidgeotto, with it being level 18, evolved, and knowing quick attack, so you can't outspeed it. Thankfully, I had a strategy for this, which involved paralyzing it so that another Pokemon has an easier chance of defeating it. The Pokemon that was given the honour of roofying this Pidgeotto permanently is Coolest, since the only thing it could do to Coolest is use Sand Attack. After a slap fight between Coolest and Pidgeotto, H-Beam sends out his Abra as if it could do anything. I take advantage of this immobile infant by sending out Hugs to use Elite Seed to recover the health of my team. Mostly Coolest, since he was low from his catchphrase, getting back to full health. If you're curious why there are no battle animations, that's because a lot of the animations are flashing lights and I don't want to cause someone epilepsy to go off. There is an epilepsy warning for the final fight though. The rest of the fight was easy, but there's something that Coolest did that concerned me. How do I put this? Yeah, he missed Rock Throw, but it's probably fine, right? Yeah, there's no way that he misses again, except for that second time that he missed again, or the third time. You know, it'll be fine. It's not like Rock Throw has 65 accuracy. After that accomplishment, I cleared out Nugget Bridge to get to Y11 to find another diamond. I unfortunately failed my other encounter, so I can't get another diamond, which means no pickaxe for me, but I can make your mother. On the way to meet Bill Nye, I lost my first Pokemon, one of my Angries, being killed by a Rattata who crit me using a Hyper Fang. Rest in peace, my angry angel. Sad face. On the bright side though, Diamond does evolve into a Pidgeotto and immediately gives birth to another diamond. In celebration of my newborn, one of my Angries decides to feed himself to Eradicate for some reason. My theory is that he hates children and just wanted to end it all, and it's definitely not because I wasn't paying attention. After clearing out the routes connecting Cerulean City and Vermilion City, I went on a catching spree in the neighbouring routes, catching yet another diamond, as well as getting the chance to catch 2 new Mons, which end up being a Diglett and an Ekans. To keep the naming convention going, I look at Diglett, and I realise that his nose looks a little pill-shaped, so he's now called Doctor. And with Ekans, I wasn't feeling very creative, so I just named a Rattle because of rattlesnakes, you know, the hissy things. So these are our new members, Doctor and Rattle. I got 2 more evolutions, a diamond and an angry. Now, onto the second gym leader, Misty. Overall, her Staryu isn't an issue, especially since I have Hugs. Hugs just Vine Whip Staryu twice before moving on to the Starmie, where he Leech Seeds it to chip it down as he continues to Vine Whip, leading up to a decisive and only slightly worrying victory. Because I cleared out the SS Hand while grinding for the fight with Misty, I went to go fight my rival immediately after destroying Misty. I brought a couple of diamonds into this fight since they were decently strong. I used my diamonds to clear out H-Bean's own Pidgeotto Eradicate before moving on to an actual threat, being his Kadabra. Psychic types are overpowered in this game because of the claymation code, so I always need to be worried about this thing. I switch into my highest special Pokemon, which is Tide, who I haven't talked about much, but Tide's job is to use Sleep Powder for an easy switch into a better Pokemon, the upcoming Charmeleon. Unfortunately, Tide was following his naming convention, immediately missing 2 sleeping powders. Luckily, H-Bean's Kadabra decides to completely throw, probably out of pride, but he doesn't end up attacking at all. When Tide finally hits a sleep powder, Coolest comes out to easily finish off the Kadabra with a few hits, defeating Charmeleon quickly afterwards. I then go get a knife from the captain. I'm not going to catch a Pokemon specifically for HMs during my Nuzlocks, unless none of the Pokemon I'm allowed to catch can know the HM. The reason I do this is because having to look after the Pokemon that can learn the HM necessary is more like a VIP situation. I have to focus on keeping that Pokemon alive, otherwise I lose the Nuzlocke. It adds more difficulty, because I love difficulty. Anyways, I teach cut to Hug so that I can cut through the bush to the east of Cerulean City, where I encounter this trainer, where she harnesses a glitch that I've not seen before to try and defeat me. For some reason, when she used Wrap on my Sleeping Diamond, it broke the sleep counter and permanently slept Diamond. I'm not saying that Diamond died. She literally broke the sleep counter. It would not go down. After clearing out the rest of the route, I caught 2 more encounters, which were Coolest and Rattle. Since my Pokemon were starting to get pretty high level from all the trainers, I went to clear out the trainers in Surge's gym, which turned out to be a terrible mistake, and that's because this happened. Rest in peace, Doctor. We really didn't have you for long, did we? But I guess all we can do is move on and go to Surge. Since I have Coolest, all his electric types do nothing to me, and the only other attacks he has are normal type, which Coolest resists. So, Coolest just easily sweeps this gym. Moving on. I quickly make my way through Dark Tunnel with little issues, where I reach Lavender Town, heading left to catch another Rattle on Route 8. That isn't the only important thing that happens since Coolest evolves. Twice! I got 2 of them. When I reach that little route to the right of Celadon City, I catch another Diamond. Let me tell you something. Celadon is the home of my nightmares. You'll see one of the reasons later, but let me show you something. This is what happens at the Rocket Hideout. Because of course. What you just saw, or are seeing, depending on my editing, was Coolest missing 34 times against the 11 trainers I fought. 65 accuracy. It really it shouldn't miss this much. Anyways, on to Giovanni, I guess, who I sent out Hugs out to defeat Gio's entire team, since it's mostly rock and ground types. But when Kangaskhan gets sent out, the fight gets a little spicy, with him almost getting O-code by a bite. I send out Diamonds in hope of using Fly to stall out the Leech Seed damage that Hugs hit Kangaskhan with, but I eventually realise that Kangaskhan has trapped himself into Rage, giving me the chance to switch into Coolest and to spam Defense Skill, so there's nothing Kangaskhan can do, giving me the win and the blessing of not having to misspell Kangaskhan I can't even say it properly. Kangaskhan anymore in my script. I'm not clearing that out. Since I've got the Silph Scope, Lavender Tower was the next stop on my adventure, with my only barrier being H-Beam. No problem. Tide was the first one to go in, putting the Pidgeotto to sleep so that Coolest could set up a few defense kills before taking out the bird. The next enemy is Execute, which Coolest does surprisingly well against, since this grass type doesn't actually have any grass type moves, letting Coolest finish setting up for the rest of his defense skills. Execute is then slowly dealt with. Then this stupid fucking fish comes out. I've never liked Gyarados, I set it up above. But this battle solidifies my hatred. In fear of Coolest getting wiped out from a water move, I switch into Tired in hopes that he can sleep powder the Gyarados. But he ends up getting hit by a Dragon Rage. This is when I lose control of the battle, sending out Angry, who almost gets O-code, and for some reason I switch into Hugs and use Vine Whip instead of Leech Seed, causing Hugs to faint. It doesn't get any better from here. I then send out Coolest in hopes of using Self-Destruct, but he just gets destroyed by a Hydro Pump. I kinda wish Sturdy existed in that moment, not gonna lie. Next out is Diamond, who, using Fly and a bit of luck, manages to defeat the Gyarados. The Kadabra and the Charmeleon were easily taken down afterwards. I'm genuinely upset at this. Like, straight up, looking back on the footage, I realised what I could have done. Ah, god, I'm such an idiot. Moving on, I guess, I level up and evolve Diamond and Rattle to fill in the rest of the team, who then help me to collect the souls of our fallen allies, gathering them up by using the magic taught to help to me back in Quebec to create a gaseous ghost that I named Fang. After that eventful journey, I have a realization that I don't have any Pokemon that can use Cut, so my brain comes to one conclusion. Gambling! I love gambling! If you watch this channel a lot, or if you watch me streaming, you know I love gambling at this point. I love it to the point I gamble for 2 hours straight in the casino. literally going completely brain dead just to buy a single Scyther, which I named Banana. I spent hours obtaining this mod just so I caught him a bit angry before losing him immediately, along with a diamond to a man with bombs, because people carry bombs around in their pockets in the Pokemon universe. Don't worry, I immediately replaced him with one of my many other angries. Up next is the 4th gym leader, Erica. I could have used my many diamonds to sweep using Fly, but I felt like giving Banana something else to do other than it being a cut slave, so I used Double Team and Slash. Fun fact, critical hits in Gen 1 are entirely calculated using speed, and so there are a select few Pokemon that can always crit when using a move that has a high crit chance. Scyther is one of these Pokemon, so Banana just crit sweeped through all of Erica's Pokemon. Now that the world has opened up to us, I go on a catching spree. I catch 2 Angries, a diamond, and I pick up the Super Rod to do some fishing, finding Goldeen, which I named Watercorn, because she was my watery cousin. We both have the same horn too, you just can't see it, mine's invisible, because of spectral magic. Oh yeah, I also caught 4 more of them. I went on a little side quest to defeat the Karate King for fun. Didn't grab any of his Pokemon because I'm saving my encounter in Saffron City for the free Lapras and Silph. Speaking of, many things happened, including the worst showing of Coolest, before he performs a miracle, learning Earthquake, a 100% accurate move, so he hopefully shouldn't miss anymore. Diamond also evolves into a bigger bird as well. Now, onto the rival fight, where I continue to use Double Team Banana to Slash Sweep. Even though I clear out HB, my bloodlust has not dissipated, quickly talking to my dealer to grab Pralas the Lapras, before running headfirst into Giovanni and crumbling the earth beneath his feet to bury him alive. Karma did come kick me in the ass though, with Tide almost getting one shot, and Angry being killed in Koga's gym. Watercorn does evolve by feeding off the corpse though, so that's a positive, I guess. Onto the actual fight with Koga, with him joining Giovanni down the core of the earth thanks to Coolest using Earthquake and completely sweeping through all of Koga's Pokemon. I did go on a few side quests after murdering Koga, catching 2 more Watercorns and a seal, which I named Strawberry, because her nose looked like one of those flying strawberries from Celeste. I also caught a Magnemite, which I called Jasmine because of a certain image. Now, finally onto the baddie who crushes windpipes for fun. The 6th gym leader, Sabrina. Unlike the other gym leaders, I actually messed up at the start of the fight, almost losing Diamond and Tired before managing to put Mr. Mime to sleep so that Banana can set up his double teams to clear out the rest of the fight. I was praying to the big Pikachu in the sky the entire time. I immediately went to fight Blaine to continue the boss rush, with Coolest getting another murder to add to his police file. Guess who also crawled out the pits of hell? William F. Giovanni! But since burying him doesn't work, Watercorn suggested we drown him. So, we did, and that seems to have worked. But I hear my name being called from afar, so I can't focus on the corpse floating down the sticks. I rush out to find my rival again, flipping me off. I wonder why, before almost losing Tide for about the 100th time in this run. But yet again, he puts Pidgeot to sleep to give Banana the opportunity to do her thing. Double teaming to let her start her iconic Slash Sweep. Clearing through most of HB's team before having to switch to Watercorn to defeat the Charizard, and throw him down the same river Giovanni is enjoying. I get the final encounter of this run with another Coolest, before immediately losing him to a Hypno, because of course I do. I quickly get through the rest of Victory Road before deciding on my final team. This, hopefully are the champions for this run. Banana for double team tactics and for general sweeping power. Pralas for Lance's dragons and water type coverage. Jasmine entirely just to sweep Lorelei and maybe the Gyarados right at the end. Fang to replace Tired for the Hypnosis sleep strats. Coolest for Agatha's poison types and for Rock Throw. And finally, the chosen one of Helmet. The Pokemon that I completely forgot about in editing and writing the script and looking back on it entirely. Oops, I guess. Now, onto the Elite Four, the serious fights. First up is Lorelei, where Jasmine fulfills her purpose flawlessly, absolutely destroying her team. Moving straight on to Bruno, who gets Psychic Sweeped by Fang. Agatha's turn to get pushed down the stairs, with me using Coolest for earthquake sweeping most of her Pokémon before having to switch to Pralas for a surf finish on her last Gengar. So far, this has been easy, and Lance does not change that, with Pralas and Helmet ice beaming through this battle. To be fully honest with you, the champion fight wasn't that difficult either, but a surprising amount of bad luck occurred. The battle started with Fang trying to do my favourite banana sweep. The Hypnosis only sleeps Pidgeot for one turn, forcing me to switch back to Fang. The Pidgeot starts using Sky Attack, easily giving me the opportunity to Hypnotize, but I misclick using Psychic instead, ending up killing Fang. Since I can't set up Sweet anymore, I send out Coolest to Rock Slide this Pidgeotto. But guess what? Coolest tries to be funny and ends up missing. Twice, before actually hitting and defeating this stupid bird. This is when the real threat comes out, actually scaring me, since this weird Spooner could end my run right here. Thankfully, Coolest brought his bomber jacket with him, using it like the name suggests. Kaboom. Next up was Pralas to defeat Rhydon and Executor. That's super hard to say. Before confusing Gyarados to help out Jasmine, who finishes the fight, winning the game. This final fight was easy. I expected it to be way harder, but I guess I did have a bunch of good Pokemon. If you watched this entire video, I give you my eternal gratitude. This genuinely took me half a year to finish because of me being lazy, having other things going on in my life, and a bunch of other personal stuff. But that doesn't matter. All that matters is that you enjoyed the video. All of the art you've seen in this video was drawn by a very good friend of mine named Jewbug. They have an Instagram account where you can go find more of the art. I have put the link in the description. And finally, one last sentence for this video. Have a nice day. Fade to black.